I played Pokemon Legends Arceus for the first time in 2025. I am on a mission to play all of the mainline Pokemon games before the release of Pokemon Legends EA, because I was a bit late to the party and needed to catch up. I got a copy of Legends Arceus for my birthday, and this was the last game I needed to play in order to be all caught up. I played through the main story as well as the post-game story after the credits. I have some nice things to say about this game and also some not so nice things. So buckle up and get comfortable, because these are my thoughts on Pokemon Legends Arceus after playing it for the first time in 2025. The game starts out with you as the main character basically getting kidnapped and isekai'd by Arceus, and then sent to this new world.
Hang on! What the fuck did I do wrong? Tell me! You blame quit!
At this point in the game, you don't really know why, but hey, I'm just here to catch some Pokemon and have a good time. One of the first things you notice about this game is the art style. It's very different from other Pokemon games and has this very unique, sort of two-tone kind of look to it. So where the colour changes to a different colour because of the shading and shadowing or whatnot, you can actually see where it changes with a distinct line, as opposed to it being blended and looking a bit more realistic. You also quickly come to learn that it has a pretty good RPG style gameplay, and this is good for me because I'm a fan of games like Saints Row or Sonic Frontiers, where you can go around and take on the story missions at your own pace. So with the first impressions being pretty good, I was quite excited to see what this game had to offer. Before I start talking about my likes and dislikes about this game, I'm going to quickly go over the story just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So it starts with you falling out of the sky through this space-time rift, and the people of Jubilife Village take you in. You join the Survey Corps and aid them in their completion of their Pokédex. The Hisui region is split up into a few different areas: the Obsidian Fieldlands, the Crimson Mirelands, the Cobalt Coastlands, the Coronet Highlands, and the Alabaster Icelands. And each of these places has what they call a noble Pokemon, which is basically the big boss of the area. These Pokemon get zapped by lightning that comes from the rift, causing them to be in a frenzy and be very hostile and dangerous. Once you prove yourself worthy of joining the Survey Corps by catching a whopping 3 Pokemon, you go around the region area by area, taking on these noble Pokemon in a boss battle, in an attempt to quell their frenzy and return them to normal. These boss battles start off quite easy, but as the game progresses they do get pretty difficult. Like, what is this? I thought I was playing Pokemon, not Dark Souls. You rise up through the ranks of the Survey Corps, taking on the noble Pokemon and catching as many Pokemon as you can to fill the Pokédex. Once you defeat all the noble Pokemon, the rift starts to go a bit funky and the sky turns red. The leader of the village blames it on you and kicks you out. While being exiled from the village, you get sent to fix what happened. You visit the Lake Guardians in order to get the red chain, and with the red chain, you head to the Spear Pillar, known in this game as the Temple of Sinnoh. Dialga or Palkia shows up depending on which path you choose, and you catch it. Problem solved. Right? But no, the other legendary shows up and you have to use yours to battle it. The rift then gets restored and all is good, and then the credits roll. After the credits, the post-game has you collecting all of the plates so that you can meet Arceus. Once you've obtained all the plates, you find out that Volo is actually the bad guy and he wants to use the legendaries for his own needs. This is where you then take part in a battle at the Spear Pillar, and my god is this battle the hardest battle I've ever had to do in Pokemon. Not only has he got a very strong and well balanced team which are all quite high leveled, but there's some interesting twists at the end.
Yes! 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 No! 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 Fuck! Shit!
So to sum up this battle with Volo, it was very hard. It took me, I think it was 14 attempts to beat him, because he has 8 Pokemon, and you're only allowed 6. But not only has he got 8, but 2 of those are legendaries. But I got there in the end. Alright, come on, Staraptor. Still down to you, buddy. Simple aerial ace should do. Let's go! This took me 10 attempts. Oh my god, are you serious? I have to fight him twice? Oh, that's just fair. Oh, this takes the piss. So you're telling me I spent that long trying to do that battle, and then just to have Giratina come out and think, oh great, he's got 7 Pokemon. I finally beat the 7th one, and he just regenerates. What the f? Please, for the love of God, do not Miss. We've done it! Right, there's not a fourth phase, is there? And then that's when you get told to catch all the Pokemon before you can be Arceus, which is basically what the rest of the game is once you've done with the story. Now with the story out the way, I'm going to go over some of the things that I liked about this game. I liked the RPG gameplay. You have your standard main story missions that progress the story, and you get side quests called requests, where you help out the people of the village. Some of these were pretty simple, like show them a Pokédex entry, and some were just pretty funny. I was a fan of the art style. The characters all looked good, still kept the iconic Pokemon look, but also had its own unique twist on it. Facial expressions were quite funny, but often seemed that your character was just sad a lot of the time. I guess that makes sense when you think about the fact that you were just kidnapped in your sleep and sent to an alternate reality. Another thing I quite liked, which quite often goes over people's heads, is most of the characters are clearly relatives of the original characters from Sinnoh, or at the very least, a reference or a homage to them. For example, you have Silene, which is clearly Cyrus. You have this hairdresser lady, which is Mars. One of the three bandit sisters is Candice. The little girl from Snowpoint City looks quite like a younger Cheryl that you meet in Eterna Forest. And the big one is Volo and his relative look a lot like Cynthia. And probably many more, but those are the few that I picked. The game is split up into areas that load individually instead of loading the entire map at once, so it doesn't run like pure shit, unlike some other games in the Pokemon series. And now on to everyone's favourite part, the things that I didn't like. The first thing I didn't like was the battle system. I don't like the agile and strong style system. It was quite infuriating to load into a battle to just get one shot by 2 moves. You start the battle and you're dead before you can even press a button. Yes, you can twist it in your favour, but it often felt that it was in the enemy's favour most of the time. I often found that my Pokemon would just miss and then I would die because the enemy Pokemon uses 2 moves in a row. It was quite annoying to lose a Pokemon where you have no input because you're just dead before you can input anything. Another thing I didn't like was the way that you get XP. In other Pokemon games, you get XP rewarded after each Pokemon you KO. In Legends, you don't get the XP until the end of the battle, so if you lose a Pokemon, which is quite likely with this new battle system, they don't get any XP from the battle. This was especially annoying when you had a tough battle where most of your team died, and then you would get next to no XP for it. Catching stuff was sometimes annoying. For some Pokemon you could walk right up to them and bonk them on the head, but for others they would aggro on you when you got too close, making you unable to catch it, unless you wanted to battle it. And then when you did battle it, most of the time it runs away anyway. It really just felt like a lot of the things in this game were against you. You can play around this by using things like berries or by sneaking around in the grass to catch the Pokemon off guard. A lot of people enjoy this kind of playstyle, but not me. This is probably just a skill issue, but I don't really like stealth. I played the Ezio trilogy of Assassin's Creed, and the parts I hated the most was the stealth missions. I can't stand just hiding in the grass and waiting for an opportunity. And then when you finally do get the opportunity, it's so easy to mess up because if you miss a ball or get just a tiny bit too close, you're revealed, and then you have to run away and get the aggro off, and then hide again to rinse and repeat. It's just not fun. Although trying to catch highly aggro Pokemon was difficult, I can't deny that it was very satisfying to launch a wing ball or a feather ball from long range and just snipe catch the Pokemon. Legends has a lot of connections to other games, which give you extra things that you wouldn't have without it. If you have a BDSP save file on your Switch, you get access to the Darkrai quest, and it felt really nice to have an actual legit Darkrai, because I've never owned one without cheating or using some kind of exploit like the Void Glitch. Similarly, you can also get Manaphy and Fion. The most notable connection that Legends has is that if you complete the dex by getting every Pokemon to research level 10, you get the Azure Flute in BDSP, which allows you to encounter Arceus at the Spear Pillar. I'm yet to do this, but I will be doing it in the future because I want to shiny hunt Pokemon God itself. With ZA coming out later this year, what am I hoping will return or not return from the previous Legends title? Obviously, I don't want the strong and agile system back. Based on the ZA trailer, the battling will be different once again. Looks like you will have to dodge manually and actually land your moves by aiming, and if that's the case, I'm not going to have a good time. It's important to have a good progression system to give players the sense of accomplishment, And similar to the star ranking system in Arceus, ZA will have an alphabetical ranking system, which I'm looking forward to. I imagine the catching system will be pretty similar, which is fine, but I really hope that the battling feels a lot better. So what are my overall final thoughts on the game? I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed the story and the new style of gameplay. Of course, there are a number of things that I didn't like, but the amount of good things that this game does definitely outweighs the bad in my opinion. It's a good new type of Pokemon experience, and I recommend anyone who hasn't played it to give it a go. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think of this game, and what you thought of this video. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.